The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
Welcome back to the Keefer and Kurre. He is Kip Keefer. I'm Tony Kurre. We are part of the 4K Wins, by the way, group with Kai Gregory and your son, Case Keefer. If you need some handicapping, we're hitting 66, 67, 68% pretty much consistently. It's like every time I check with Kai, we're 19-11, 18-7, 12-3. I mean, it's every single night. It seems like we're kicking it. And, of course, I know Kip Keefer is fantastic at handicapping games. He's doing a wonderful job on that. So check out K4Wins.com. This is our other show where we get to talk about whatever we want to talk about, and you're going to get off on this topic today. You're going to love this.
All right, because I don't know. I've done this the last couple of weeks. For full disclosure, we kind of do it on the fly. Whatever.
You're going to love this. You're going to love this.
I'm looking forward to it because I have no idea what Tony's going to throw at me.
So what's going on the first weekend in May?
The first weekend in May, the Kentucky Derby horses are on the track.
Yes, Kentucky Derby. Fantastic. Always the first weekend in May.
First Saturday, yes.
Flowers for first Saturday. Flowers are blooming. It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
We got NBA going on. We got NHL playoffs. We got Major League Baseball. We got Kentucky Derby. I mean, it's just fantastic time. Only 30 times in the history of sports have we had the big four playing all at the same time. Okay?
Very rarely, yep.
Yes, it just doesn't happen. We're talking NFL, NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball. Only 30 times that we had, they call it the sports equinox, where we have all four sports playing on the same day. It's a very special day. It just doesn't happen very often, 30 times in our history. So I'm looking back and I'm going, well, wait a minute, May's pretty good. What about April? We got March Madness is closing up, right?
Yep.
We got the NBA playoffs. We got the NHL playoffs. We got the
Masters.
We got the Masters. You got Major League Baseball. We got the NFL draft coming up. So I want to know what Kip Keefer's best sports month of the year is.
Yeah, April and May are both really strong, but God, Tony, I gotta go with October, because in my heart of hearts, I'm a college football guy. Both college football and the NFL are well cranked up by October. September, you're just kind of getting your legs getting started. The serious games, particularly in college football, getting going in October. And of course, October features the World Series, which I always love. So that combination of events, and it's almost frustrating to me a little bit because I'm. As I've said, and you've got hockey in the NBA starting in October as well. So that's the mother load, and you've got them all going. It disturbs me a little, and I know you're a big baseball guy like I am. I can sit and watch baseball 162 games a year if I have the opportunity. People keep inviting me to stuff and making me go to work and do different things, so I can't watch as much baseball as I'd like. When I miss a Braves game, it's like, oh, God, well, the Braves are on.
By the way, Red's playing the Braves in a couple of weeks, by the way, over Atlanta.
Yeah. Your Reds put up 24 runs yesterday in one game.
Not too bad.
Joe Burrow and the Bengals need to pay attention to that.
I'll bet you the Bengals didn't score 24 or more.
About half their games, yeah. So anyway, I love baseball. I love the subtleties of baseball. I'm actually enjoying this year the SEC once again so dominant. I'm watching a little bit of college baseball, which I haven't traditionally done, but I think there's 11 or 12 SEC teams in the top 25 right now, including I think the top 3 are all SEC. So, but October for me with the World Series, and I'm a little frustrated from the baseball standpoint that they just don't learn. Unfortunately, right now, football is king, and it's still crazy to me that you see World Series games like on a Saturday night against college football. Or I mean, they would really be better off. And this is kind of a radical suggestion. But I think baseball would be better off to go back to how it used to be in the old days when weekday day games during October. I can remember in school, people they're wheeling the TV, a big old box TV on a big cart, and a really nice teacher would let you watch the World Series at school.
Yeah, man, that was a
Um,
special teacher right there, brother.
but that's that. Then you could command you know they need to be smarter about scheduling. They need to just accept the fact that even World Series games are going to take a secondary status to big football weekends, and maybe that's not how it should be. But football is undeniably king right now in this country. The NFL by far. If you look, you and I talked about it a couple months ago. The top 200 programs and ratings for the year, like 160 of them were NFL games.
I know, isn't that crazy?
It's
I mean,
amazing.
it is amazing and yeah, every year you look at the top 10 programs and usually six or seven of them out of the entire year, six or seven of them are NFL games, including of course, the Super Bowl. I was going back and I was looking because I just noticed just how wonderful this time of the year is, and I was actually trying to figure out what month sucks the most. And
Yeah.
I was thinking it had to be sometime in summer, maybe August.
Yeah, it's
Because
pretty
you
bad.
get dog days of summer and the Major League Baseball is kind of winding up a little bit. And it's hot. And then I was thinking to myself, man, because we do a lot of handicapping here and we do some gambling and things like that. And I was thinking to myself, what's the best gambling month when it comes to sports? And I would have to go December. Only because I mean you got college football, you got professional football, you got college hoops, which I absolutely love going over unders. You got NBA going on. You've got the holiday season. You got bowl games, which I think are fantastic. There's nothing better than bowl games because everyone's like, "Oh, we get too many bowl games." We don't have enough bowl games.
Yeah, exactly.
We need a stinking bowl game. If you don't want to watch New Mexico State and Illinois play a college football game, then go out and do whatever you want. But I want more college football. I want as much as I possibly can. D1, D2, D3. I don't care. It's fantastic. If it's on TV, I'm watching it. I'd rather watch that than a Lifetime Christmas movie anytime. But I was thinking to myself, because around the holidays, we get a chance to watch more TV because a lot of us are off work. Not around here. We're not. We're Tony Curry Radio. We never take any time off around here. We work on holidays, brother.
Yes.
You know that.
It's a sweatshop, folks. Somebody come save me.
So I was trying to think. I'm going to have to agree with you that I think October. I would have to see December and I'm a big Christmas guy too.
Oh yeah,
because I know Christmas isn't not a sport, but well, sometimes you could be considered a sport. But
yeah.
I'd have to say December is a pretty good time too. Yeah.
Yeah, December's great. And you mentioned college basketball started. The great thing about college basketball in December is every blue blood, big time school plays each other because in college basketball, you get rewarded for playing tough games, unlike college football, where, well, we really don't consider the schedule and who they've played. The stupidest.
Well,
comment.
they tried with the Chick-fil-A kickoff, the coaches versus cancer thing. They're trying to get these big schools. Alabama seemed like they were always in that first Saturday game against Clemson or whoever over in Georgia. They were trying to do that, but man, college basketball, it's almost like Duke head coach calling Kentucky head coach and just saying, "Hey, what are you doing this Saturday? You want to play?" I mean, there are so many 1 versus 2s and 6 versus 7s, and the coach versus cancer. You get the Blue Bloods tournament. You got the Maui Invitational. You get the one where they play on the deck of a fighter jet. I mean, they got so many great college basketball things to kick off the season. It's unbelievable.
And remember last year, we talked about it on the show. Case went and saw his alma mater, Kansas, at the T-Mobile Arena where the Golden Knights play, the big, huge arena. Across the street, Tony, at the same time, you had Auburn and Houston playing at MGM right across the street. I mean, I'm telling you, it's a 10-minute walk between the two venues. And you had 3 of the 4 Final Four teams and Alabama who advanced to the Sweet 16. You had all those teams playing at one time in one town right across the street from each other.
Well, and one of the ideas where I came up with this idea to talk to you about this was watching the Boston Celtics game yesterday. And of course, they looked fantastic. but they were showing what was going on in Boston. We just had the
Yeah,
Boston Marathon ran this morning.
this morning.
And so you
The
got
Red
that.
Sox are playing right now.
You got
Yeah.
the Red Sox playing right now. You got the Boston Celtics playing the NBA. I mean, talk about just a wonderful time of the year. And it's not too stinking hot up there. It's just a wonderful time of the year. I miss that down here in Birmingham. And something else I want to kind of get into, unless you got something else you want to go off on this sports thing, because I'm always looking for people. As crooked as he was, Larry Langford was a friend of mine.
Hey, I like Larry a lot.
He did have more. He had so many shirts in his closet that were still in the wrapper.
Yeah.
He won a couple of big jackpots in this state. He's done a couple things, but I love the fact that he always thought outside the box and nothing was too big. You know, when he said, "I will not give up until I have a beluga whale here in Birmingham." He was talking about having an aquarium.
Yep.
And he wanted to have a Super Bowl here. He wanted to do it all. And we all thought he was crazy. Well, we're not so crazy now. I mean, we don't have a Super Bowl here. We don't have an NFL team, but we've come a long way, baby, in the last 5 or 10 years. We never thought we'd have another stadium built for UAB. The BJCC looks fantastic. Now we're getting some men's basketball. We had the women's Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 here. So we're getting some things. But one guy who really thought to look forward was George McMillan. And I don't know if you're a George McMillan fan. You're into politics. Obviously, he was the governor back in the late 70s. And he was the one that started this thing called City Stages back in 1989. He passed away a couple of days ago at the age of 81. I was on Fox 6 this morning, and we talked about it for about 10 minutes. But for 20 years, man, we had this thing called City Stages, and it went all the way to 2009. And unfortunately, like a lot of things in this town, the reason it didn't go is because there were too many people with their filthy hands in the pot trying to pull cash out. You had, I don't know, 100 different acts, 3 different days, Father's Day weekend. It went for 20 stinking years, and all of a sudden it goes broke in its 20th year. And the reason it goes broke is because they said it was too hot and the acts weren't good enough. Well, after 20 years, that's a bunch of hooey. They were $450,000 in the hole. And I'm not saying George had anything to do with that, but there were a lot of bands that didn't get paid on that thing. But I was just thinking about great times of the year. It was always Father's Day weekend. I don't know if you have any memories or that you like to share with the City Stages, because I know you love to see live entertainment as well.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't come to Birmingham till 1992, so it was in full swing at that time. And I remember going a couple of times with some coworkers at the Birmingham Race Course. Charlie McIntosh, who was the general manager at that time, loved that event, and the track supported it and sponsored various aspects of it. So I have some fond memories. It was a great party. There were multiple stages. It was a great concept, and I never really understood the disintegration of it, because I actually left after coming in 92. I left in 98 and didn't come back until 2004. So I think that was kind of right during the demise period.
Yeah.
And by the time I got back, it was pretty much an event that was on its way out, I guess. And I never really heard the postmortem of why. But I've been a critic, and I know you weren't an original Birmingham. You came earlier than me, and you've been here continuously. But I've been a critic of Birmingham not thinking big enough, and that's why Larry Langford being, and I'm glad you mentioned Larry, because he was a as mayor, he was a commissioner on my Birmingham Racing Commission.
Yep.
Larry was always a guy who was talking big, thinking big, and so much of I mean, Larry had some nefarious deals, and he wheeled and dealed for suits and clothes and everything. But all the jackpot stuff that McGregor somehow was fixing machines so Larry could win is the biggest bunch of baloney ever. Because I can tell you, people in controls in the McGregor organization, Mr. McGregor had this label of just being this political maneuverer and fixer, and it's absolutely not true, because we would go to McGregor with all kinds of innovative ideas. Well, let's do this, let's do that. He goes, whoa, fellas! Now I think that we're going to let the lawyers look at that. I think we put a jackpot there. So, and some of his internal control people to suggest that they would let Larry win jackpots is just absolutely ridiculous. Also, this is one of my favorites. Milton McGregor was a huge booster of Auburn University and put a lot of money into the athletic program. And remember the Cam Newton scandal,
Oh
the
yeah,
the bags of money that
the
were
bag man. Yeah, the bag
yeah,
man.
and Danny Sheridan had I know who the bag man is, and was pointing the finger basically at Milton McGregor. Louis Benefield, who now is the COO for his late father-in-law of the McGregor organization, tells the story of the very first game Cam Newton played. They were up in their box watching, and Milton goes, "Shit, now who's this number two fella? This guy can really play." Milton had never even heard of Cam Newton, and he's allegedly the bag
He's
man
the bag man.
that brought him in with supposedly he had set up his father, a preacher,
Yeah.
to win big jackpots too. So all that is total BS. It's urban legend. It's not true. Larry was chastised because he thought too big, and what Larry really was dreaming about, because I remember having discussions with him way back when, what became Protective Stadium, which is a nice facility, and I know it's given us the ability to do some different things here. But Tony, somebody should have gotten the money and ponied up. We should have built a multi-purpose dome facility that you could play big tournaments, major events, not a 40,000 seat stadium that's, limited by being open air. I think they could have thought a little bit bigger and gotten a little bit more participation. And I think Birmingham could have built the ultimate facility, because if you look at cities in the Southeast that are peers of Birmingham at one time back in the 50s and 60s, that was really what the difference was. They built premier facilities that brought professional sports and events to their cities. And Birmingham for years insisted on Legion Field was good enough, which is an absolute joke.
Yeah, and I can't believe it's still standing. No, I agree with you. And it coming from a major league sport, we used to have, believe it or not, you used to have Major League Baseball and NFL games in the same stadiums. And I remember when someone came up with the idea of, well, why don't they have their own stadium? We have our own stadium, and we thought that's crazy. We're not going to build a space. Well, guess what? Now that is just the going rate. Now, if you don't want to do that, forget you. You're going to hold on to your baseball, your NFL team. I agree with you. If it meant, and listen, I'm a UAB fan, but build it, they will come. It has not happened for the UAB Blazers yet, and of course, it doesn't help. They won 3-8 and 4-8 the last couple seasons.
Yep.
With Trent Dilfer, hopefully he'll get that thing turned around. But even when the UAB's won some championships, like they did with Bill Clark, they didn't show up. So I'm not so sure. That's going to be the key. Although, having a Garth Brooks down there and doing the World Games and having the final ceremony and stuff down there, Protective, I thought was really, really good. I agree with you, because I think they did the BJCC, by the way, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, they did a really nice job.
And that was part of the funding for that was part of the stadium deal.
Yeah.
So I know to improve that facility was big, because to have the NCAA tournament back here is really a real good step in the right direction.
Yeah, and these people, and we'll go all the way back to the maps. Remember the maps deal?
Yeah.
When everyone was talking about doing the maps thing, and that thing just got so fat because it had everything from parks on it to schools to all kinds. I mean, they were adding all kinds of crap on the outside to make sure everyone was going to be happy with the state tax that we were going to add. And of course, it didn't go through. There was so much waste in that particular bill just in order to get that thing built. But, had they done something like that, golly, what was it, 25 years ago?
Yeah, at least.
There's no telling where we'd be right now. But yeah, we're moving the right direction. And I don't see any other. I thought it was silly when they built the Barons thing downtown. I thought, what are we doing? We have a perfectly good stadium that does see baseball and all this stuff out there in Hoover. It's a great facility. It rarely sells out unless Michael Jordan's on your team. Why are we building this new? But it's beautiful, and
the ballpark is awesome.
It's incredible. They were looking for an earmark. They were looking for something to get people downtown. It is beautiful. The Birmingham and signature on the side is on every major promo for this town, which is fantastic. It goes along with Railroad Park. If you haven't got a chance to go downtown, it's fantastic. It's great. And even the walk underneath the overpass and everything down by the BGCC, it's super nice. So they've done a lot of work. like you were talking about, people didn't want to go downtown because they were afraid they were going to get shot. Well, now you can go down there about any time you want. And if you get a chance, because particularly we used to be the South Side people. We used to do Lakewood or Lakeview all the time,
Absolutely.
and that's South Side was great because you could get out of your car at 7 o'clock on a Saturday night and walk around for 7 or 8 hours and not have to worry about anything and hop in your car and head home. I'm not saying it's to that point yet, but the uptown area and some areas downtown are pretty nice. But I go back and I look at that city stages, and I wanted to get your thoughts on that because I had to work it every single year. I was blessed enough to have not been married when it started, to be married when it was going, and actually had my first child while it was still going because it was over a 20-year period. So I got to see all three facets. And obviously, not being a father was a lot of fun because it was Father's Day weekend. I didn't give a rip because I didn't have any kids that I knew of. I had a good time down there getting after it for 3 days. And then, of course, when it came to Father's Day weekend, that's what people did for Father's Day. They went down to city stages. They're like, no, they enjoyed it. That was their thing for city stages, the buttons and all the stuff that you used to have. And it was super cool. But you're right. It was a little bit ahead of its time when you're talking about, the Coachella stuff and some of the other things that are going on right now. And Jazz Fest down in New Orleans gets started, I think, on Thursday, the 24th. And they've got like the Who showing up, Lenny Kravitz. I mean, it's unbelievable what they got down at Jazz Fest. And that goes on 2 weekends. So I think we missed out on the boat on a couple of different things, but for the most part, yeah. What about, since I got you on here, what's your thoughts of the USFL and the Stallions? Yeah, obviously they won back-to-back championships.
Yeah,
and the league's what now? It's fourth year or their fifth year. What's your thoughts on them?
Tony, I applaud what they're trying to do. I think it was a very good move for the two rival leagues that were trying to be the spring football leagues, the USFL and the XFL, to merge last year. I think that was a step that was very necessary for the survival of both. And it seems to like have stabilized the product. My problem is, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but I'm so football consumed the rest of the year. It's hard for me to get into football mode here in the spring, particularly in let's call it what it is. It's a secondary league.
Sure.
It's guys trying to play their way to better opportunities, and I applaud anybody who's loves the game to that extent and is still trying to pursue their career. But my dance card is pretty full. That's my biggest problem, is I just don't have the time to allocate to really pay much attention to the USFL. And the fact that I'm not a native of Birmingham, I've never embraced. I guess I was spoiled by the fact that I always lived in major league markets. I've never embraced minor league baseball. I mean,
Yeah.
If somebody says, "Hey, we got a suite for the Barons game," I'll go. I went to the WJOX party last year to kick off the season, which was a great time. WJOX had basically rented out the entire outfield and all the space out there, and it was fantastic. We had more people at that party than were at the regular game.
Yeah.
But the ballpark is beautiful. But I just I haven't been to a Squadron game or any of the kind of minor sports. I have seen the Birmingham Bulls once down at the Pelham Civic Center, but I'm just not really a minor league guy, and I'm not an elitist by any means. I'm just consumed. I'd rather sit home and watch a big league ball game than go to a minor league game live, and that's probably something that I should work on because I need to get out and about and circulate more. I have just too much time of doing my kind of narcissistic things, and so that's my kind of lame explanation why I'm not into it. Our good friend Don Mitchell, who's a sports talk caller and a guy about town, he goes to all this. He's a big, huge Auburn fan. We had him on the starting lineup last year.
Yeah.
Don's a great guy who I know you're familiar with from all your years in sports radio. Don keeps trying to get me to join the Stallions Club, which is like the booster club. And I just said, Don, I just can't see myself, going down on a weeknight and having a big booster meeting and listen to speakers from the USFL. And I'm not proud of saying these things, but I'm just being honest with you. That's the main reason that I'm not really involved, because it's just a secondary league, and I just don't have. I have other priorities.
They've done a nice job, the Stallions have, of creating their own buzz. They really have, and I drive down 119, and when you drive down 119 on the left hand side of the road, next to the high schools and all that other stuff, and the intermediate schools where my kids go to Oak Mountain, there's a giant football. It's about the size of my head. It's about that big. It's huge, and it's the Stallions' office, and it says Pack at the stadium and stuff. And it's a giant. It's a football. It's 10 or 12 feet tall, but it's hard to miss. It's sitting right there, and it's on a giant tee. And they've done a really nice job considering. And listen, Holtz has got is a well-known name.
Yes.
A lot of people have known Skip. Of course, he had a lot of runs in college, and of course, we knew who his father was. He's done a fantastic job. Kind of surprised he's still with the Birmingham Stallions, just because I thought, you win back-to-back championships. Someone should be calling you, but maybe he's a little outside of his age group. I don't know. I'm just kind of surprised. Maybe it has, and maybe he just loves it here. But they've done a nice job. But yeah, and the Birmingham Bulls, it's one of those things. The Bulls are like yoga for me. Whenever I do it, I really like it and go, man, I need to do it again, but I never do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. I should do this more often. And then I never want to go back. And it's nothing against them. But yeah, it's just, and it may be because I don't feel like I'm part of the niche, or I'm not part of one of the P1s, or I don't know what the hell the rules are or anything else. I don't know, but yeah, there's plenty of stuff to do around here though, if you want to do it though. Your dance card is full.
I think they were the Bulls game I went to. They're playing like the Fayetteville Fire Ants or somebody, and it just feels like, and it's in the Pelham Civic Center, which they've done a nice job of that little arena there. Because I'm a hockey fanatic. All my nephews play hockey. My son Clayt plays. I played hockey in high school. I actually kind of started our high school hockey program in Atlanta back in the old day, in the prehistoric days, because the Atlanta Flames had been really popular and hockey really caught fire there. So I love hockey. I was up till almost 1 a.m. watching the Golden Knights last night in game 1 of their playoff series in Las Vegas. Went to 2 games, but when you go to the Pelham Civic Center, it's just, I don't know. That's even beyond minor league. That's like like a pickup game. Yeah. But they do a good job. I have no criticism for that franchise or its operation, but I'm just not a secondary sport guy right now, and it's not so much. I'm not an elitist. I just have full attention span watching all the other major sports.
Do you have a relationship with Art Clarkson? Art Clarkson,
I remember Art.
Owner of the Barons, and of course, he also owned the Birmingham Bulls. I didn't know. Did you have a relationship with all? I figured you would have, just because you're into sports so much, and he was.
Yeah, I was on. I went to one meeting way back when where Art was there.
Talk about a businessman. Now he rubbed some people the wrong way, but man, he got blood out of a turnip. Man,
he got things done. And there was a big movement. Gene, his last name's escaped me now. The sports promoter here in Birmingham,
Gene Hallman.
Yeah, Gene Hallman. Gene Hallman was really trying to get everybody that was sports oriented in town to kind of get on this planning committee, and I think it kind of morphed into it kind of went in its own direction. But Gene was a real innovator too, and I guess he's still active here.
Yeah. That's the Bruno's event team. They still do the thing out the Barber.
And do an exceptional. Yeah. That's another great event, by the way. I understand that there's probably economic and practical reasons, and probably the club itself. But when that tournament was being played at Shoal Creek, which is one of the best golf courses in the country, that had a little more juice than Greystone, but I know there's realities there. I know that members a lot of times don't want to cough up their course for 2 months of maintenance and a week of a tournament, which costs them quality time. So, but Gene has always done a great job and was really trying to get it organized back in the 90s to get Birmingham into a different stratosphere of sports opportunities. and it's just kind of leveled off. And we're making some progress, like you said. I thought the Rickwood Classic last year was a fantastic event for this city.
Yeah.
I like the fact that Randall Woodfin thinks big, like Larry Langford. Randall's, I think, did a great job. The mayor in his interviews afterwards of we want to get people's attention. This is a great city for this kind of thing, and next time they consider expansion for Major League Baseball, I'll tell you a quick story. Shortly before Mr. McGregor's death, he and a group had gotten together a big effort. The Raiders deal in Las Vegas looked like it was going to fall apart, and the Davis family was desperate to get out of Oakland, and McGregor and his people were trying to put together a package to bring the Raiders to Birmingham and build a mega stadium here, and had gotten into some pretty serious discussions, and then they found a way to get the deal done in Las Vegas, and the rest is history. Now they're the Las Vegas Raiders, but there have been innovators trying to push for Birmingham. But Alabama in general has got to get a better attitude of, I still hear the things I heard 30 years ago, Tony. Well, it's just all Alabama, Auburn. Nothing else would work here.
No.
Major league sports would work here, folks.
Absolutely. And the only reason they don't is the leagues usually fold before we can do anything with it, And you talk about that too. And I remember, and I'll use this loosely, but only because he was always super nice to me. Donald Watkins, the famous attorney, and of course lawyer here in Birmingham. Yeah. I had numerous meetings with him. I actually went to Minnesota with him when he met with some of the people there because he was wanting to bring the Twins back to the Birmingham area, and he was asking me would I be part of his marketing stuff like that, and that was super close too. So,
and the Twins have had unstable ownership for about 30 years now. Yep. They're for sale again now by the current owners. Mm-hmm. So for like 1.7 billion, somebody wants to cough that up. Let's bring Major League Baseball to
They'll
Birmingham.
be worth 10 billion in 10 years. I mean, what other thing can you get into? Screw the stock market. Go buy yourself a professional team.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be worth billions and billions of dollars, even if you have losing season after losing season after losing season. I mean, it's going to be worth more and more money. So, hey, great stuff. We're going to get after it again this weekend. Of course, on Saturday, we have our great show called The Starting Lineup. I believe we're going to have a special guest. I think Seth from the Sasquatch Toys and Comics is going to be on. I'm asking him to bring some sports-related things, some fantastic toys that perhaps we played with back in our day that were sports-related. Maybe he'll bring us some lawn yards.
Good. Tell him I'll bring cash if he can make a sale right there.
There you go. Maybe you can bring one of those. What was the football game? The electric board.
Oh, electric football.
Yeah, electric football. We do electric football.
And that was so awesome. I had the 1969 version of the Jets Colts Super Bowl electric football, and it was just amazing.
I'll have to ask if he's got one of those and see if he'll bring that down. That'd be kind of good.
Yeah, I'd love to have one just for nostalgia. But what I really got into, Tony, they sent a little booklet with it that was perfect for me because it lured me right in. For like $9.99, you could order any other team that you wanted, and by like the next summer, cutting grass, doing chores, whatever, or just hit my dad up. I had like 14 of the 25 NFL teams. I could have any matchup on my Super Bowl field awesome. I wanted. It was great. Now the problem was when you had it took about 15 minutes to line everybody up, then you'd push the button and they'd all turn and run the wrong direction.
Well, and we always had to
fall down.
We always had to make a football too. Someone always had a little piece of paper. We had to make a football because you'd always lose the football and you stick it under his arm and there'd be a fumble and man, we used to have so much fun. That was so much fun.
You'd cut yourself and your mother would use it to soak up the blood. It was a piece of cotton. So there were a few flaws in the actual operation of the game, it was awesome.
Good times, man. All right, I'll see you on Saturday, and to continue to listen to Tony Kurre Radio wherever you find Kip. He's all over the place. We'll do it again, ABC 33.4 this Saturday. Thank you, sir.
Look forward to it, Tony. Thanks.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.